Hello, welcome to this week's YouTube video. I am currently in the middle of the Lake District because we've been kicked out of our house because we're having a wall knockdown. So we thought, "Do you know what? The weather's nice. Why not take ourselves camping and keep working while we're camping?" So I'm having a lovely old time. I've got the loveliest view in front of me right now, but I'm here to talk about how to stop thinking about food all the time without more willpower. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to stop thinking about food all the time without more willpower. And I am coming at you all the way from the Lake District because we've been kicked out of our house because we're in a wall knockdown. So we said, why not keep working, but do it in the Lake District and go camping? And the twins are asleep, so I'm having a great time. So today, delving straight into what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be talking about this food noise because if we think about here, this stopping thinking about food all the time. I think I hear this phrase a lot at the moment, in the terms of food noise. So, what food noise actually is this kind of preoccupation with food. So, it's like we've got this constant monologue running in our heads around food and our decisions around food. Things like, should I eat this? Am I hungry enough? Maybe I shouldn't have had this. It's bad. What am I eating next? I can't stop thinking about chocolate. Shall I have some? Probably shouldn't. I don't need it. It's that constant, even thinking about food when you're eating food. What am I eating next? It is just a constant feeling like you're absorbed with thoughts around food. And before we delve into this anymore, I don't want you to think about penguins. I bet you any money you're thinking about penguins. And I did this to prove a point because what you've just done is, or what I've just done, should I say, is I've turned on something in our brains that we call our reticular activating system. And this is it's part of our brain that brings awareness to what we want it to. And a really good example of this is if you are looking for a new car and you have got an idea of which car you want, and maybe you're like looking for it out on the road, maybe looking for different color options, and you start to see it everywhere, and you feel like everyone's suddenly got that car. The same amount of cars are there, but you've brought your awareness to that thing, and your brain can't stop thinking about it. And the same happens when we tell ourselves that we can't eat certain foods. So when we're saying things like, oh, I shouldn't eat that. I'm being good. I can't eat that. It's bad. I mustn't eat that. It's junk. It's unhealthy. It's rubbish. We are actually dialing up our preoccupation with food and that food noise because we are turning on our reticular activating system to the level where whatever we're telling ourselves we can't have, we're thinking about it all the time. Everyone's suddenly speaking about it. We see it everywhere. It's almost like I always refer to this scene in Madagascar. Do you know the one where Alex the lion is like so fixated on steak that everybody turns into a piece of steak with legs? That's where you get to. Like that is the point that you are at. Because by telling our brains we can't have that, we're actually turning up our brain's desire for that thing and making it focus even more on it. And now we know this is thinking about what we can do. And as with more things, I say this all the time, it depends on the individual. But I would say that this is some of the most common strategies that I would use to help people reduce food noise. And I'm going to go through them one by one. And there might be some that really stick out to you, and this might be a really great starting place for you. So, my favorite one, and it sounds really basic and like it wouldn't work, but simply listening to it and understanding it. Like one of my favorite phrases is we can't change what we can't make sense of. So if we, instead of getting really critical about what we're eating, if we start to get curious about why we're eating it and listen to that voice, that monologue that's going on for us around food, we can start to understand it, and that will help us to make those changes. So, what is it saying? Where did it come from? What feelings does it bring up? What stories are you telling yourself? What rules do you have? Like, really listening to what's going on in your mind as you are eating and understanding that. Because once we've got that bigger picture, like I said, once we've made sense of it, we can then do things about that. And part of that comes into either re-educating. So it might be that you have like a certain rule around food, like I'm only allowed one carb a day. Lots of people who've come from a certain slimming club and slimming well, feel like they can only have one carb a day. So actually re-educating ourselves on that and understanding that carbs are our body's main source of energy and that actually we need it regularly throughout the day. And even reframing it. So reframing situations where maybe you're telling yourself a specific story about something, and maybe it might be that you have no willpower and actually understanding that it's very little to do with our willpower and more to do with understanding why we're eating, for example. And a really nice one that comes along with this is understanding that thoughts aren't facts. So we can have a thought, but it is our choice whether we choose to accept it as a fact. And this was a bit of a game changer for me. It's the idea that if we're thinking like, I shouldn't eat this, that isn't a fact. We can challenge that and we can change that by either re-educating and or reframing. Um, practicing mindfulness in other areas of your life. So it can be really difficult to kind of bring yourself into the moment with food choices if you are kind of living your life in a way where you feel like you're falling through life, you don't really get a second for yourself. Like, if you are not able to be mindful across your whole day, it's really challenging to actually start being mindful with food. So, having some little mindful moments within your day gives you the headspace to start tackling some of that food noise, which is really nice. And it also, obviously, mindfulness is a skill. So bringing yourself into the moment and being able to do some of the bits above about understanding and listening is a skill that we want to practice. And being able to pause, we often need that reminder to help us when we initially start this one, but it's really, really powerful. And then reducing the thinking needed for food. So, for example, planning your meals for the week. Yes, it's rubbish. I hate it. I literally despise planning food. I do it every single week and I absolutely hate it. Don't think I'm ever going to enjoy it. But it means that I then don't think about food for 7 days because I just look at what I've planned and I get it ready and eat it. And it takes away a massive ton of food noise for me. And for so many of the women that I work with, because we're not constantly having to think, well, what am I going to have now? And oh, I've not got time to make that, and I've not got anything in, and I don't know what to have. And then you got to go to the shop, and you stood there thinking, oh, what do I need to eat? Am I eating? I shouldn't have that. I should have this, and all that goes because all that decision making is done for you, especially in those evening meals when we've already made a lot of decisions throughout the day and we've not really got any decision making energy left because we've only got a limited capacity. So when we've not got any left, it means that we've already got a plan. Giving yourself full permission. People are terrified of this one, my past self included, but most of us have only ever given ourselves full permission to eat certain foods when or after we've already eaten it, when we've said that we shouldn't eat it. And I think that's a really interesting point. So being able to give ourselves that full permission before we start eating it really changes it. Because say, for example, you're just like, oh, Jen, if you told me I could eat donuts all day, I would eat donuts all day. But like, would you? Would you actually eat donuts all day? Like, would that make you feel very good? Would you enjoy the donuts if that's all that you're eating? And I think it's really interesting when we start to unpick that one and give ourselves that permission before we eat, along with that mindfulness and that pause. And then changing the language that we use around food. So going back to what we said in the previous one about when we're thinking about the shoulds, the shouldn'ts, the bads, the healthy, the unhealthy, the being good, like all the language that we use around food can be really triggering for that food noise. In the sense of when you eat something that maybe you felt you shouldn't, that can really dial up that food noise in our brains. And then working on all or nothing thinking, this is a huge one. So that idea that like once you've done one thing that you believe you shouldn't have done, that sorry buttons hit and you just spiral and feel like you can't control yourself until something happens that means you start again being good. So those are my top tips for starting to work on food noise. And one of my favorite ways to do this is using a BBB Mindful Food Journal. So if you would like to see this is basically a template that we use that allows you to start on thinking or really getting curious rather than critical and understanding your current habits around food so that you can start to see where you might need to start working on this. So I've got a little template that's got like exactly what we use with the BBB is in there, exactly where to start. It's got some guidance on how to start to use that to get the most out of it. So if you would like it, just comment below with Food Journal, and I'll send you a little link to that completely for free. And you can start to understand where you personally need to start to reduce that food noise. So I look forward to hearing from you. I hope you have a fabulous whatever day it is that you are watching this YouTube video. And if you enjoyed it, please let me know because I love doing videos like this. And make sure you hit the subscribe so you don't miss out on any future ones.